Hello and welcome back to Still Eligible. It is nice to see ya again. We are back from the SEC Championship, the Bronko Nagurski Awards. Did a lot of traveling this weekend. Did a lot of traveling the past 14 weeks. We've been moving and grooving. Let's talk about it.
I don't know about the grooving part, but definitely moving.
I've been grooving. I like to dance when the opportunity presents itself. I don't know.
Zero grooving for me.
Well, not a surprise. How was your weekend?
It was 2 trips in 1.
I know. I enjoyed it. I mean, it felt weird because it felt like 2 short trips. Like when we got to Charlotte, I was like, that was a shorter trip than expected because we normally leave on Thursday and we left on Friday this time, and it felt like a shorter trip. But then I realized we still were resetting to go into the next trip. So it was weird. Sunday felt like a blur to me because we were traveling and then planning and then sleeping. So there we are. But I mean, the SEC Championship. Loved it overall. I mean, I made a note later on that I've not been to the SEC Championship before. I've been to the Big Ten Championship a few times, and we've been to a lot of SEC games this year, and we've gotten grief or we've gotten love, depending on who you are and where you come from, I guess is the main thing there. But the SEC and how much that game means, and obviously the 1-3 matchup, obviously it heightens a little bit more. But I was on 2 sidelines for Ohio State as they go to the CFP, and won the Big Ten and made it to the CFP. I guess the one year they didn't make it to the CFP, but they made it to the Rose Bowl. But regardless, I guess maybe that might be why some of the electric was out of the air, but the electricity was in the air in Atlanta, and I mean you could tell how much that game meant to Atlanta, the SEC, Alabama, Georgia, everything, the whole weekend. I mean, it was nonstop.
It just meant more.
That's all you have to say.
I mean, we heard that phrase about 1 million times this weekend, but I understand the saying now because SEC fans are crazy. Well, in different ways than like Ohio State fans to me are insane, but not in like how amped up they get. I think we've talked about it before about like the expectations and kind of like they expect perfection all the time, which I guess technically like Bama and Georgia fans do too, but they just like the enthusiasm for the program, I feel like in the SEC is just like unmatched.
It's crazy because everyone, and we talked about it and we said it going into it, is just like the hype is that Georgia's the best team in the country. Their defense is unreal. They've not given up more than 17 points all season. And Alabama, quote unquote, having an off year. I made a note that a lot of people that I talked to that, either work for Alabama or from Alabama, an Alabama fan, whatever it may be, are saying like this team is just not the best team we've ever had. And we're really looking forward to next year's team and having a year older Bryce Young and a year older Will Anderson and a more established running game. And like they might lose Jamison Williams, but they're not really losing much else. And, I mean, Alabama just came out and did what Alabama does. And, I mean, it's easy to say now, a few days later, but, going into it, I think we all were under the assumption that this is Georgia's time, this is Georgia's year, this is Georgia's opportunity to not only beat Alabama, but ideally and potentially knocking them out of the playoff picture where, I mean, now – they could meet again. I mean, they very well might meet again. I know that you might have different thoughts on that.
Maybe we can get to that later, but that is just insane that during a year. I mean, I remember after the Texas A&M loss, I was thinking, okay, maybe this may be a down year, but the fact that they've been able to turn it around and the fact that like they're still looking forward to next year while also potentially winning the Natty this year is just blows my mind.
That's the standard, and that's how ridiculous it is. Where, I mean, one thing that was interesting to me, I saw on Twitter when I was watching the selection show, like literally as we were getting off the plane. It could not have happened at worse timing.
Oh yeah, we were like on the carousel, like you were like watching on your phone,
trying to watch
every few bars we passed. Like I would like glance at it, but couldn't tell what was going on. Yeah, it was not good timing.
Sorry, taking a sip of water. But what I did hear was somewhere there like Alabama doesn't even do like a CFP watch party or anything like that. And I feel like most schools do or something where it's like the guys are together and whatever, and like either whether you're in the CFP or not, if you're like one of those fringe programs, or if you're Cincinnati where you're making it for the first time, like obviously Clemson does it every year because Dabo is an idiot and just wants to celebrate anything he can. But the fact that Alabama is like, nah, like we're going to be number one or we're going to be in the CFP, it doesn't make a difference. I just thought that was, I mean, this is the standard and the swagger, and we'll get to the Will Anderson interview in a bit, and I feel like he kind of touches on that a bit too, where it's like, I mean, just listening to this podcast or like whatever, hearing us talk about Alabama throughout the year and our Alabama trip and the Florida trip and stuff like that, like imagine playing for Nick Saban. Like actually sit there and think about playing for Nick Saban. Like, what? That guy is an absolute legend. Showed a little bit of a personality this weekend. We were in there for that.
Yeah, I think that was one of the. I mean, I think that was the first press conference we were like both.
I don't know if we've been to
like, and we were there the whole time, which I don't think we definitely haven't done all year. We kind of just saw it was going on and walked in, and yeah, we kind of caught a one of like the more quotable quotes of the college football season.
What would he say?
Yummy rat poison.
I was like one of those things where, I don't know, we have the opportunity to be in these press conferences or these random things or like big play or whatever it may be, and Nick Saban says yummy rat poison, and I instantly was like, well, that's gonna pop off. Yeah. I mean, naturally, and the way he said it, I mean, that was the big talk in the room after that was all the beat writers and writers and all those guys were like, it wasn't the fact that he said yummy, it was the fact that he said yummy the way he said yummy.
Oh, yeah. No, it was he was having fun with it, and we talked to Will a little bit about. I've always thought that Saban like can be funny, but he clearly is like.
I mean, like I think Belichick can be funny.
Yeah,
it's just like their job's not to be funny. Their job is to win football games.
Yeah. So to witness that moment up close, and I mean, I think the game too was like one. I don't know if it was the. I mean, we've seen some crazy games this year, but like seeing that right before like the final CFP teams are selected, and seeing like so many eventful games this year and games that had impact on that was like it was a cool way to kind of like end the season in terms of a game of that magnitude. And we've never been to that stadium before, just like taking it all in was sweet. Cool. It looks like a Star Trek something.
I mean, I've always seen pictures of it. I mean, everyone's probably seen a picture of it if you've watched a Super Bowl, if you've watched the Falcons, if you've watched Red Zone, if you've watched anything. I mean, a lot of big games are played there. Like the first few games of the college football season were there this year. But yeah, that stadium is beautiful. That's like, I mean, it's up there. It's like, Jerry World, huge, nice. I mean, all these stadiums are huge and nice. And then the Falcons played there the next day against the Buccaneers. So it's like, that blows my mind too. Is something that's like these facility people can turn an SEC championship game around into a NFL game in under a little bit over 12 hours. I don't even know when that game ended and when that game started, but I mean,
it would take me that long just to pick up all the confetti from the.
They had the confetti going quick.
Yeah,
I snagged some confetti. I like to snag the confetti at like all the big events I go to, and I like do these little frames I have, just like what do you like?
You don't make
see-through glass.
You don't make other confetti from it. You just
you can always make more. You can just keep shredding it.
Yeah.
But I made sure to snag some and put it in my back pocket because these people. It's in a Chick-fil-A bag in my suitcase currently. These people were picking it up so quick. I feel like normally you let it sit there and whatever, and they were picking it up quick. The dance team was out there. The band was out there taking the pictures, laying in the confetti. But they had like a leaf blower out there and like rakes out there and all that stuff. So it is what it is. But yeah, stadium was sweet. What else you got? Should we start with our recap? We kind of just hop right into the game. And go back through it.
I think the first big thing that happened on the trip. I mean, I'm still starstruck, but we met the Aflac duck.
Yeah, the Aflac duck might have been the highlight of the weekend. We went to the fanfare, which was like, it was cool. I mean, everyone has this kind of like fan setup. Like there's, games for kids, drinks, different things that are engaging, whatever, sponsorship, all that stuff. Love a good sponsor. Anyways, this was like in that convention center right next to the stadium, and like College Game Day was in there the next day, whatever. And we kind of just going to pick up our credentials, so we didn't have to worry about that on game day on Friday. And we were walking around. We're like, all right, let's get a visual. We can come back here. We're going to be back here tomorrow, get some content, whether it's today or tomorrow, whatever. And the Aflac thing, I think we were walking by. It was one of the first ones we walked by. And I don't know, someone like said something to me or whatever. And they're like, yeah, you got to get a picture with the duck. And I was like, yeah, that'd be sweet. And they're like, no, it's like the real duck.
The real duck in the commercials.
Like, oh, okay.
And then we almost didn't. Well, there were like a couple. I mean,
they were putting the duck away.
They were putting the duck away. We did like a few things at the activation before, and then we were walking up, and they were like about to put the duck away, and we had to pull like we're doing stuff.
I pulled my
SEC.
I pulled the credential out and was like, well, we're just doing running the Instagram story for the SEC, which is true, not a lie.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you mind if I'm like, because they're like, oh, it'll be back in 45 minutes. It's like, well, I won't.
It doesn't work for our schedule.
Yeah. So credentials get you a long way. Credentials helped us out at Michigan when I was going there with Ben to the game. The guy's like, I can't let anybody else park in here unless you're working the game. I was like, oh, funny thing is we're working the game.
Yeah.
Show them the credential. Boom, good to go. So if you need help with parking or pictures with Aflac ducks, just like Photoshop a general credential or just lie. I'm not telling you to lie, but maybe lie.
Yeah.
And you might be able to,
if you're in that position,
you might be able to swing some things. Act with confidence. Confidence is key.
That is the key to everything. Act like you belong. But I'd say that was the highlight of that part of the day.
Yes.
We went to, there was a Chris Young concert, which that was like pretty awesome just to attend that, and like the fact that he plays these like huge stadiums and he just kind of showed up for like a smaller venue.
It was sweet. It was a good concert. I mean, like I said, I'm not necessarily a country guy by any means. I like the popular country songs, and that might sound horrible to say, but I'm just being honest with you. Like catchy country songs, like that's what you'll hear me listening to if I'm in the weird mood to listen to country in the first place. It's gotta be like summer Bud Light, driving with the windows down. That's my kind of country. I'm not about to just throw on country on my ride home today. I'll be honest. So yeah, Chris Young. It was cool because it was, like you said, it was smaller, it was intimate. I don't know, we can't put a number on how many people were there, but I can assure you it's less people than his normal concert. So that was cool. What do we get? Some tacos afterwards.
Tacos.
Little food truck action.
Yeah.
And we took some photos, got some videos. It was cool. Anytime we've been to it, like I don't think when we pitched this we were planning on going to like multiple concerts throughout the year, but this is what, like our second, third.
I guess what happened after would have been.
Well, then I went to another concert, which was definitely not planned for. There was this like Twitter meetup hangout spot later that night for like a bunch of Twitter sports people, and there's a bunch of different people there, recognizable on Twitter. We don't want to get into all that, but I was hanging out with some of the Alabama creative guys, and we were talking, whatever. I think I went back in to grab my what's it called? My bucket hat. They were making custom bucket hats with your Twitter handle on the side. Like, I don't know when I'm gonna rep that, but it's sweet to have, I guess.
Sweet hat.
And I was like at the thing, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're making it right now." Because you typed it in, you filled it out, and like 45 minutes later, like one of the guys I was with, he's like, "Yeah, I just grabbed mine." I went back, and they're like, "We're making it right now." So I was like, "All right, I'll chill." And then the next thing you know, I hear Waka Flocka like just start performing, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And I turn around, and Waka Flocka is performing inside this like rooftop bar with, I don't even know, probably, it's definitely less people than the last time I saw him, which was, a whole fraternity and all their peeps. And this was probably, I would say, like 200 people max, maybe. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Waka Flocka and I think I looked it up the other day. I don't remember how long it was, but like from the time I met him in Ole Miss to the time I met him this weekend, I think it was like 36 days. So we're gonna see if I can continue to see Waka Flocka every like month and a half.
I need some Dro Life apparel.
I know Dro Life like they like more of our stuff on social media than I do. Like I like post some stuff and forget to like it, and then I'll see Dro Life liked it, so then I'll go back to like it.
They're like the reminder to make sure to like the post.
Dro Life's got a ton of followers too. Shout out Dro Life.
Yeah.
Look
us up.
We'll rep some gear on the podcast. We'll clip this and tag him. Anyways, Waka Flocka. So yeah, I don't know when we're gonna hang out next. After the
36 days from now.
36 days after the it's my like New Year's Eve with Waka Flocka. After he was done, he only performed like a few songs, which was sick. Everyone was hype and lit in there. And then afterwards, like all these girls or whatever trying to take like selfies and pictures with him. And I don't know, I'm a couple gin and tonics deep, and I walk up to Waka. I was like, "What's up, bro?" He's like, "What's good, man?" And I show him the picture. I was like, "Yo, I took this of you at Ole Miss." He goes, "Oh, that shit is fire, man." I was like, "I appreciate you, Mr. Flocka."
He gets the weekly Waka Preciate Ya is just, we don't do it, but it's just implied. It's just like whenever we do that segment, it's implied that he gets one.
Let's do it. I mean, Waka Flocka, what a guy! What a guy! So yeah, that was Friday night, which, 2 concerts in one. You go from a Chris Young to a Waka Flocka concert. I don't think there's been many people that have done that in the same night. So
not a lot of crossover. You're like the person in the middle of the Venn diagram there. The one person.
So there we go. Cap your night off with some Waka Flocka. That's always good. And then Saturday morning, bright and early, we got some coffee in us, and we headed to the fanfare at the convention center right next to the stadium where, like I said, College Game Day was. They were making some sick T-shirts. I should have wore that. I wore my Alabama T-shirt today.
I wore mine the other day. They were like, a lot of times, like, you see someone's giving out a free T-shirt and it's just kind of meh. But this was like a cool design. Like,
it was a cool design.
I'm glad that we got ours.
They made like Georgia, Alabama, and SEC ones, and you got to go up there and pick one. And we were waiting in this line. This circles back. This is all makes sense. We were waiting in this line. We waited for like 10 minutes, and I'm just like impatient at this point, and whatever. And we're like, let's come back to this. And then we come back like 20 minutes later, and we just go. We're like, who's in charge here? We talk to the guy in charge. We're like, we'd love to make you guys a video. And we're like, yeah. Like, we'd love to learn how you do this. We didn't make the video.
I don't think we made the video.
But we didn't wait in the line either. And now we've got the T-shirts to go about it. So just whatever.
We could have just held the cameras up and not actually recorded.
Have a credential.
And a camera.
Have a camera.
You can get in anywhere. You can get, those 3 traits. You can
make it in life.
You can really
do what we're doing. So there you go. That was what was going on. There was like a Dr. Pepper thing, Velveeta thing. They were kicking field goals. They had like we stroked a field goal in there.
We have video of that. I feel like I'm not really like I was kicking in like these shoes too, which like were not
those aren't
great,
kicking shoes.
but I made
those are laced too high.
Yeah, I know. I made like I feel like we made like a 30-yarder,
something like that.
25. 30.
The guy that was working it was like an old angry guy.
Yeah,
he yelled at you, didn't he?
Made me chase the ball, which I didn't know that was part of the.
He's like, "Well, I'm not going to get it."
No, he was not very happy with his life, but this was like So like, I guess we should talk about a little bit about like the SEC thing we did. We kind of partnered with them and did a lot of content, ran their Instagram story, and like one of the first things we did.
Shout out Taylor.
Yeah, shout out Taylor. He hooked it up. We like did our intro post on the field, and then it was like, oh, like Zach Brown Band is playing. Like, let's get something with them. And normally, like, we'll tag anyone big that we'll tag anyone really, but like we'll tag anyone that we think like has potential to share the story. And we were doing it on the SEC. It was like, all right, well, we did a clip of you, and we're like, we might as well just like tag Zach Brown. And like minutes later, it was like Zach Brown Band shared your story. They have, I don't know, a lot of followers. I can look it up. I don't want to guess, but
a couple more than us. Just
the officialness of 893,000. So that's pretty good. But the officialness of being on like a major conference's social media was pretty cool. And then just like seeing the amount of likes and like DMs that were coming in, like compared to our account, was just like mind blowing, because you realize, like, especially during the biggest game of the year, like everyone is checking it out.
Everyone's eyes are on it.
It's wild. So that was
it was fun. I think we did a good job of trying to tell that story. That's what we were talking to Taylor about. Like, listen, we're trying to cover everything anyways, so let's just help you out.
Yeah.
We're gonna be all over the thing. We met up with our dude Brent Little, legend.
Yes.
Johnsonville. What was his title, or what was the award he won? Hold on. I'd hate to misquote it.
I know we're checking our sources today.
I gotta zoom in. That's not clean.
Not zooming in.
It's like Johnsonville.
Was it Tong Master?
Oh, yeah,
in my day, but never a Johnsonville. I've met many tongsmen in my day, but
Tongsman.
never a Johnsonville titanium tongsman.
Tongsman.
Johnsonville titanium tongsman. What was that?
that was The Rock.
Anyways, Johnsonville titanium tongsman Brent Little worked his ass off to get to where he was. I love when anyone wins any kind of award, and just like seeing the heart and the passion behind it. And I guess we'll get into that more in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But this man was ecstatic, and it was awesome to be able to talk to him about his. I wrote it down here. His some sort of melted cheese sauce. What was it? It was his Hasselback sausage burger. It had like some sort of like. I guess we could just play the video. Some sort of like sausage.
It's probably better than I was trying to remember.
He was going in. Like, we started talking to him, and I was like, "Can we make a video? Can we interview whatever?" And he's like, he just starts talking, and like, he's like showing us like the cream cheese, the this, the that, the whatever thing. And I was like, "All right, this is great, but like, let's just do it while the camera's running."
He
So
told us everything before we started recording.
I was like, "All right, let's do that again, but let's look at the camera this time." But we try. I didn't try the Hasselback sausage burger. It looked phenomenal. It was like Hasselback. I had to look up what Hasselback is. It's not just a shitty quarterback for the Seahawks. It's
Or his brother.
or his brother. It's like when you cut something, like, kind of like a fan thing. I don't know, but he like fanned out this sausage, roped it, and then like put cheese, like jalapeno, cream cheese, something in the middle of it, and then sausage underneath it and whatever. And then he also did some like donut hole wrapped in sausage with banana on top. That was unbelievable. I don't know what that was made for, but it was unbelievable.
Something about didn't he say something about Elvis?
Something about Elvis. He's from Memphis.
Yeah, he was.
And I don't know.
We could have written a novel with everything he told us.
We should have just mic'd that guy up for the day.
Yeah.
Follow him out. Or follow him on social. I think his name is Engineer of Q.
K of K or K in Spanish. I don't know. That's
K. Por qué?
Uh,
I failed Spanish.
yeah, I didn't. I'm not good at Spanish either.
Good dude though.
Yeah,
dude was elite, and he was like pitching us on a bunch of ideas, like yeah, we're working with the SEC, all this stuff. And
well,
just
he thought we worked for the SEC.
Yeah, it's just easier to be like, let's just get to the point here, and let's not waste everyone's time and be like, oh, we're still eligible. We travel around the country, go to the like whatever. Let's just get to the point. And then he's like, we need to make SEC spatulas where you can make pork chops, and then have the pork chops seasoned on top with the SEC stencil on top. I was like, why don't you just make a stencil? I'm not the guy that's running the SEC spatula department.
Probably that department does not exist.
Well, if it does, they got a guy to talk to, and follow him on Instagram at the Engineer of Q.
Yes.
He gave us a shout out on Twitter too yesterday.
Yeah, he's a great dude, and happy he won.
Otherwise, we'd have to grill him.
Let's talk about this real quick, and then we can take a break.
We might need to take a break soon because I don't remember when I turned that camera on.
Well, I got a timer going, so.
But I started the camera. Did you start when I started?
Yeah, I started shortly
good.
after. So we'll talk about this.
If the camera cuts off, it's on you.
Okay, well, why don't we just take a break?
All right, we'll be right back. I forgot to bring the music back down, but here we are. We're back. Camera's on. We're on. As you were saying.
Yeah, I set a timer again. So we were good, by the way. I doubted myself. So Twitter Spaces. We should probably start this off by saying we were big Clubhouse guys early on.
Clubhouse was legit. I gave it Appreciate You at one point in time. Now I don't even have the app on my phone. But Twitter Spaces.
But we never thought that we would be doing anything like that again, and that kind of was part of our deal with kind of working with the SEC was we were going to do that. We ended up doing it pregame, halftime, and that sounds like I don't understand sports. Halftime and postgame. And it was cool. I mean, we had, I don't know if I would call it technical difficulties at the end, but we had to share headphones, which we've done before. We've done that before.
Like, I don't know. Some of you hopefully listened to it pregame. Yeah. I think, I don't know. It was all over the place. And it was one of Taylor's ideas of like ways that we could help and add some flavor and do whatever. And he seemed to enjoy it. And I mean, I definitely enjoyed it for what it was worth, but like there was multiple times pregame where I thought we were live and I'm just sitting there talking and like I was like, I don't know what's going on here. And I was like on the field, the team's running out, and I was like, let's do it from the field. It didn't work out, but I think we got better as time progressed there. We got our guy Sank on there. Shout out Sank.
Yeah, Commissioner Greg Sankey,
Commissioner of the SEC. I mean, that was sweet.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that he may be joining, I think, and then it kind of just was like, now joining the chat. It was like, oh, okay, cool.
I will caveat it as I think. I did tell you, and I thought I had something cooking for us, but I thought I was gonna have Waka Flocka on with us. When I went up to show him the picture, he was like, shout out, because it was a Twitter event. He goes, shout out Twitter Spaces, and I was like, I showed him the picture. I was like, yo, we're doing this thing for the SEC, blah blah blah. Twitter Spaces, like, we'd love to have you on. He's like, oh, bet. And he points at some dude in the corner, and his like little bookkeeper comes over. His name's Cooney Waka's manager. That's his name on my phone. His number is yeah. I thought we were gonna have him on, but
what if he just started shouting out other things you can do on Twitter, like shout out pin tweets, shout
out quote tweets, shout out retweets, shout out DMs, shout out it all.
Waka's booking agent is crushing it.
Well, he showed me I don't even know what that guy's up to. He showed me, he pulled up his schedule. He's like, man, we got this, and this. He's like, maybe we could do around halftime. I was like, perfect, halftime. And then I texted him in the morning, and no response.
Yeah, well, you tried, and you also tried with another rapper that we'll get to later, in person on the field. No spoilers though.
Awkward.
So yeah, cool way to
Jack
learn.
Trails, SEC Twitter Spaces. He loved the message. This is a Friday at 11 o'clock at night. He loved it. And then Saturday morning, I said, "What's good, man? Still would love to have Walk on tonight to chat about the game if it works with y'all's schedule." No response.
Love that. At least
7:26 a.m.
But yeah, no. Twitter Spaces.
I'm gonna prank phone call that guy.
We kind of got, we did it on the spot. We hadn't used it before, so it was a good way to figure it out. But no,
let's just try it out. The biggest game of the year.
Yeah, no, what could go wrong? But it was good. It was it went as well as it could given some of those technical difficulties. So we kind of did. I would say we did more in terms of like from pregame to postgame on this trip. We were doing a bunch of other stuff that we like don't like. We've done a lot of stuff, but like we did Twitter Spaces. We did an official IG story for another brand. We did our own IG story. Went up to the stands. Like it was like nonstop. So we did.
I kissed a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're on a roll.
No, we just did a lot. So I
did.
think
honestly, I haven't necessarily looked through all my photos, but I took significantly like thousands less than I normally do. Like a ton less. I don't even know how many photos I took, but to go with what you're saying, we were doing a lot of stuff. So it was cool.
Yeah, some of those interviews. I'm just kind of looking at our social media right now. I mean, we kind of just at one point we were like, should we go outside? Because normally like we're at these college football games that there's tailgating going on, and we were just like, oh, we have like an hour, 45 minutes. Let's just talk to some people in the stands, and so that was like something that we haven't really done either that I think went pretty well. And we did the team walkthroughs and kind of commenting on that. So
the ones I did with the dudes with the shoulder pads, I mean it was good for what it was worth, but I think that actually popped off after the game when Alabama people were like,
yeah,
well, I guess I guess they were all over TV because they were just like
I saw them getting memed a lot.
And then just like this didn't age well, really, Al. Look at all those little puppies, those cute little puppies, mutts, roll tide. It ain't working. Roll tide, roll. Should have borrowed the Auburn playbook, or better yet, A&M. Ooh, got him. I just like that guy's message. Whatever. So that one didn't age well. And then what else? Some people were absolutely hammered at this.
Yeah, the guys I talked to in the Georgia coats were definitely on one or two or multiple.
You did that guy so dirty with the cover photo.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, he looks like he's having a stroke in the cover photo. But
he does not look good.
No.
That is not. If that was me, I'd be like, oh.
Luckily, he does not have Instagram.
I mean, that guy doesn't know Instagram's a thing. That guy was alive the year Twizzlers were created.
Not Twitter, Twizzlers.
Common mistake. Twizzlers. I'm looking it up. You keep talking.
Year Twizzlers were invented?
Guess the year. Don't look it
I'll
up.
be able to tell you in a second.
Don't look it up. I already have it pulled up.
1930.
No, but 1929.
Yeah.
You definitely peaked. That's bullshit.
But yeah, I mean,
when was the company founded?
Oh gosh, Twizzlers were 1929.
Yeah,
like 1920.
1845.
Wow, took them long enough.
Well, I mean, they were probably doing some other stuff before then.
Yeah, but not Twizzlers.
Or they spent a ton of time focused on making Twizzlers.
Yeah, it's a process, but
introduced 92 years ago. The twist you cannot resist. It started in Arkadelphia.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
Oh, I wish.
Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Shout out Lancaster, PA. I got a buddy that lives there.
Nice.
Y&S Candies. We really went on a tangent.
We really did. So I guess
I don't like black licorice. Do you like black licorice?
No, I like the regular licorice. So the game.
I remember my grandpa likes black licorice. Growing up, he'd eat it
at
like
a 4-hour podcast.
He'd eat it at like random like basketball games, and I would smell the black licorice and be like, "This is not for me." Like black jelly beans. I don't like jelly beans. I don't like candy corn either.
I'll let you start the game discussion when you're ready.
I'm looking at the history of nibs. Nibs are bite-sized licorice. Pieces made for nibbling. There you go. It's a good strawberry Twizzlers. Well, I can't find anything on the pool. Whatever the pool ones. You know which ones I'm talking about?
This is now a candy podcast for anyone who's listening.
What are those called? Those are good. If you're into that kind of stuff. I got yelled at when I was a little kid on the 4th of July because I threw a Twizzler at a moving car. We were watching fireworks.
Oh
I don't know what got into me. Probably Twizzlers. Probably had too many
Sugar
Twizzlers.
High.
Yeah.
Sugar high.
There you go. What? Well, how do we get to Twizzlers?
The old guy.
Old guy. Twizzlers. Yeah. Wow, what a ride. It was a good game. 41-24 final. It was actually the same score of the Alabama-Georgia game last year. They were 2-3 last year, 1-3 this year. That game was in Tuscaloosa. This game in Atlanta. And, honestly, cheap concessions at this game. That's something that the Mercedes-Benz Dome is known for. I don't know how much Twizzlers were going for, but one would imagine $2-3 based off of other stuff I was hearing there. So, there you go. Anything to add? I've been on a tangent.
I hope we have Twizzlers over in the kitchen.
I don't know. I don't think we do.
I also just love. We've talked about this off camera, but there are people back in our office now, and we basically went a year where there are no snacks and no drinks, and now
is loaded.
Now it's completely loaded, and we're never here.
No, but it is stocked now.
Yeah, that's great.
The game, like I said, Alabama won. Surprise to us all. Not necessarily a surprise. I mean, I guess a surprise. Nobody. I didn't see that coming. I thought that Georgia, like I said earlier, this is Georgia's year. This is the team to beat. They looked unstoppable all year. And then Bryce Young comes out and just validates that he is the Heisman Trophy winner, and just locks it in. I mean, he ended with, 421 yards, 3 TDs. Jameson Williams. It was a Bryce Young, Jameson Williams show. 7 catches, 184 yards. I think that, Saban said this in the post game, and I think it was true just being at the game. But that first Jameson Williams long touchdown, slant post, whatever, across the middle, I think that's when the energy shifted in Alabama's direction. They were down 10-0 at the time, and he caught that route and just absolutely torched these guys down the sideline. There was no catching him. And then my favorite is the Karate Kid thing they've been up to down there, celebration. And then he proposed to the field goal post on his second touchdown.
I saw that, yeah. No, I saw a stat. I can't find it right now, but he hit one of the max speeds that's been recorded.
Yeah, I think I
right?
liked it on Twitter. It was he was only 22.4 miles per hour or something like that.
And he's hit 20. He's hit 23 before in practice, which is just crazy. Do you think he's going to declare? Because he's I would have.
Alabama wide receiver Jameson Williams was the fastest ball carrier in college football this weekend, hitting 22.4 miles per hour against Georgia on Saturday. And then Trayshawn Holden quote tweeted it and said, "I hit 24 miles per hour, but the GPS wasn't working."
He is we've talked about it before, but the fact that obviously he would have played at Ohio State eventually, but that wide receiver room is just absolutely nuts for him to have transferred out there, and he's like a stud.
He had a couple touchdowns last year and played a decent amount, but that room at Ohio State, and that's what happens. That's the power of the transfer portal, right? And we're gonna get into the transfer portal right now, and the coaching carousel, and CFP, and this is the wildest few weeks of college football. But the power of the transfer portal is legit. Alabama's the number 1 team in the country, the number 1 receiver on their team, the most the first team all SEC, the most yards in the SEC. Jameson Williams comes via the transfer portal, so it just shows the power of that. And he absolutely balled out all year, and especially this game. Stats were ridiculous. Him and Bryce Young, that was the game. And if I told you Bryce Young was going to throw less than Stetson Bennett, that's not a good sign for Stetson Bennett to begin with.
The one thing about the Michigan game, we'll talk about it more later, but their whole quarterback situation, and I know that he's a good, we talk about the whole game manager thing, he is a walk-on. He's you see him versus Bryce Young, and it's almost like a different species in a way, because Bryce is just so athletic and just such a stud. And so we'll talk about that later, but as a Michigan fan, obviously Stetson is solid, but I don't know. It'll
be interesting to see if they roll with him for the CFP game or not, because obviously not his best game. The only game they lost this past weekend. But they, once JT went down and then JT came back, but JT never made it back into the starting lineup because they were just, banking on that defense. And he was, like you said, a game manager and good enough to get the job done. So very interesting. Most points Georgia gave up in all year, and they gave it up in the first half. 17 points was the number before. Then Alabama dropped 24 on them in the first half. Most yards given up by Georgia this season was 230. Yards per game was 230. Alabama offense dropped 365 on them in the first half as well. So, those two stats alone, not great.
No, and that, again, gives me some hope, but also, it is Alabama. It's Bryce Young. It's not any just average team. It's not a D3 team, which you'll understand that reference if you keep listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
But I think the funniest, obviously the game was entertaining. The funniest thing that happened probably the entire day, and this was a little embarrassing for me. So usually if I interview someone or if you interview someone, it's blatantly obvious, you're meeting them somewhere where it's they're walking up to you and introducing themselves, and it's hey, how's it going? We were emailing you, we were DMing you, whatever. And so Titus O'Neil is a wrestler. for the WWE, and we I think saw from the SEC account, or he was tagging the SEC, that he was like at the game, and like he's got like 1 million followers, like, you know, great personality, whatever. So we're like, all right, we got to interview him. We found his area.
His
row. Went up to a large man who looked like Titus.
Yeah, I mean,
started interviewing him, only to like a minute in have him be like, "Hey man, the guy you're trying to talk to is over there."
I was confused because I'm like,
you can never
I
hear
was down a few rows.
You can never hear when you're recording, like when
Yeah.
you're holding the camera in these interviews. Like, it's very rare that you can like hear everything they're saying. So like even if like you've had some interviews where I'm holding the camera and I have no idea what you're saying, I can try to.
I felt significantly less awkward than you probably because
Yes.
I was like, oh, like I'm just the camera guy.
Yeah.
Like I'm not the guy interviewing you. And then like I think I like you knew that to go down there, and then I look over and I make eye contact with Titus, and he's like give me a head nod, and I was like, oh yeah, we're coming. Like trying to play it off like this guy doesn't look exactly like you. Like,
Oh, this is just another guy we were interviewing.
There's just another 6'8" dude that's jacked.
Yeah, so he was the guy I talked to was cool about it. I mean, it was embarrassing for sure. And again, usually it's just like you never have to be like, "Hey, are you this person?" It's like, "Hey, we're interviewing you. Like, I know whatever." So that's whatever. That was a little awkward, but no, Titus was cool. I didn't know that he. I mean, he had been like tagging the SEC. He had just been like posting Instagram stories like from his row that was like not.
It was like a total dad Instagram story
like
takeover.
at SEC.
Like it wasn't like recording like. Didn't record like a big touchdown play. Like he just
like
recorded like
field.
just like the fact that he's 70. Oh, my flashlight's on. They record the fact that he's like 70 rows up, and he's just like, "There's the field." But it was like 30 times. Like his Instagram story was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So.
No, it was.
He's a wrestler. He's not a.
No.
He's not an influencer.
He doesn't work in #SM Sports. So that was cool to interview someone else and then Titus. That was fun. And then. Yeah, I mean, that was my obviously later that night, Michigan played in the Big Ten Championship for the first time, but that was my first conference championship game. I know you had been to a couple, right, for Ohio State, but I guess how did it compare to those?
I mean, yeah, like I kind of said earlier, I mean, I think that the energy was a little bit different in there. I think it definitely, for what it meant more, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ohio State played, the two games I was at were Northwestern, 21 ranked Northwestern, and 8 ranked Wisconsin. And I think Ohio State was down against Wisconsin at half, but I wasn't even like remotely worried. And normally, like, whatever, I was worried against Oregon, whatever. Like sometimes just like you're like, we're gonna win this, and I'm not. Like I was not worried whatsoever. I don't know. I think it was different from like being like closer to the team as far as that standpoint. This one kind of being more there as a fan, if you will. But I mean, I don't know. I think the Indianapolis. I could go on for days about Indianapolis. I love Indianapolis and like the whole environment, the weekend, all that stuff's great. But I mean, the SEC just did things bigger and better. And I don't know. It's been 3 years, I guess. I didn't go last year because of COVID, and then. Whatever, so it's been a minute since I've been to the Indianapolis version of it, but I mean, it was very impressive, everything that they had going on down there, from the fanfare to the Johnsonville guy and to the game itself. It was just all top to bottom. And I mean, like I said, the games I was at, you just kind of assumed Ohio State was going to win and going to be into the playoffs or make it to the Rose Bowl or whatever it may be, where they're like having some playoff implications to go with it. It was cool for sure. So. Georgia, no sacks. I think that's a big thing too.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, that's going to be a huge, I guess, kind of storyline for Alabama going forward, because it seems like when Bryce has time and can throw. I mean, just seeing him in person, and we didn't even talk about that crazy pitch play he had.
Oh, that play got me going.
Yeah, he's not a huge dude. Like I definitely think he's listed at like 6 foot 190. He's definitely under 6 feet. But like his ability to improvise and just like even when he like will score or he'll be at the end of a long run, the way that he takes hits and doesn't set himself up, like a lot of quarterbacks are not great at like.
He's shifty.
He's so shifty. So I'm worried about him. Obviously, if Michigan beats Georgia, but that's going to be a tall task just to even get there.
I mean, I think Bryce Young is stupid. Not actually stupid, but stupid talented. I mean, obviously, hands down is winning the Heisman this weekend. I mean, locked that thing up. Just an absolute Heisman performance against the number one team in the country. And, I mean, I don't think it's crazy to think that he might be Nick Saban's best quarterback he's ever coached. And that's not something that, I don't know, that means something. So, I think that pretty much covers that. And, I mean, we went and hung out with some Alabama and Georgia players just 2 days later in Charlotte for the Nagurski Awards.
Yeah, I guess getting there Sunday, we didn't do a whole. I mean, we traveled. It was a travel day, so we went from the championship to the Bronco Nagurski Awards. So that was travel day. Did a little hibachi for dinner. We bought a kid's music set at Target.
What a weird. We probably let creepers checking out of there. Yeah. Bought Twizzlers and drumsticks. The youth drums.
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah, we trying to figure out fun ways, and we'll get into each of these interviews here in a second. Trying to have fun ways to have these conversations with these guys. I mean, they were coming from a CBS interview to us, and those are crazy production value, crazy questions, crazy this, crazy that. We're just here to have fun, show these guys, show their personalities and have a good time with them. And they were both super cool and super willing to do what we had set up for them. We did Will's interview first. We're about to hop into that in a second. We did Will's interview first, and we were playing Jenga with him, which, whatever, you'll hear that and keep that in the back of your mind as you're listening to it. But then Jordan comes in, he's like, we're we're going to play some music, or I don't know what we teed it up as. He's like, shit, man. He's like, I wanted to play y'all in Jenga. I'm sorry, we've got something else planned for you. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was I think we may have gotten slightly more. I mean, it was pitched as we get 10 minutes with them because they're already doing the CBS stuff and
signing 1 million autographs.
Yeah. So we had to be. I mean, it was kind of similar. It reminded me of the Spurrier interview we did, because that was you have a set amount of time, you got to be ready to go. So it was a little. We were in our tuxes. It was a little stressful, kind of being ready to go, but I think we did a good job, and obviously they were great on camera, which is always fun.
No, it was cool. I mean, that was our first time. Are we just gonna talk through this right now? Do we have enough time? What's the timer at?
We got 5 minutes. Let's do it.
I think it was cool because it was our first time. We've been to a ton of different events, but never an event like that. This was an award ceremony. The Nagurski Award is for the best defensive player in the country. They also gave out a couple other awards, the Defender of the Nation Award. It goes to a military student athlete, and a Legends Award, a former player, former DB, or former defensive player, whatever. But it was cool to be a part of the whole day, and we get more access than most people, which is something we're grateful for. And shout out to Josh for hooking us up on that front. Showed us around all day, but we got to hang out with Jordan pretty much most of the morning. He got there, and we just had breakfast, and we were waiting on him to go over to the convention hall. And Josh was like, "Hey man, can I get you something to eat? Can I get you some Bojangles?" And you could see him sitting there and he's like, "Nah, I'm good." But
we take some willpower to turn down Bojangles.
I know, especially when you're 340.
Whatever. He's huge.
He's absolutely giant.
Oh my god!
Look at the
picture
of him next to Pat, and Pat's not a small man.
Small, and he makes me look tiny.
It's absolutely hilarious. We look like we're the same size. I mean, you're whatever, you're taller than me, but
he makes the force scale of it is insane. We're normal people, and he's a giant.
Absolutely huge,
gentle giant off camera.
Giant. No, yeah, it was. I mean, he was cool. It was I think that us talking to them and relating to them, and we were just BSing with them morning, talking about playing video games and crashing the golf cart. He kind of swerved the question. We'll get into that one in a bit, but we asked him he was telling us a story about how him and one of his teammates crashed the goat cart and then picked it up and wheeled it across back to the indoor field and just left it there, and then he kind of like ended the story, and I was like, "So did you get caught?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, we got caught." And he's like, "We got called into Coach Smart's Smart's office the next morning, and we had to be there at 6:30 doing 6:30s, which is just like whatever, suicides in the morning or something like that." But no, that was sick. The event was sick. The event was, top notch. The entire day, it was cool because we had these like relationships with them by, come time for the event, like 5 o'clock, we spent like a lot of the day with them. And then, 5 o'clock we get in there, they're like signing autographs. There's a cocktail hour. There's finger foods. There's auction items. There's all this stuff. There's a bunch of people in tuxedos and dresses, and everyone's like, to the nines. And, we're sitting there 5 feet from them, and like in between like them signing autographs, like I'm looking at Will, and I'm like, we still kick your ass. We still kick your ass in Jenga. And he's like, come on, man. Like, all that stuff. So, no, I think that opportunity for me was one of the coolest things we've done so far.
Yeah, that to be able to do it, and not that it has to be with a top player.
Doesn't hurt.
It does, but it doesn't hurt in terms of just like we were able to do a lot of research on them and everything, and you can only do so much research, and then it's a matter of just kind of being cool with them, talking to them, getting comfortable around them, and I feel like we did a good job, and I think they were super funny too. So like that's always a good thing with us, and we just like to have fun. So I had a great time with them.
Both of their body types are very similar to Braswell's in the fact that it's just a lot of meat, a lot of muscle, stuff like that. So no, that was super cool. And then at the award ceremony, obviously Will Anderson took home the award for best defensive player in the country. So shout out to him. Congrats to him. We talked to them before the award ceremony, obviously. And then Shane Beamer, coach of South Carolina, gave a speech. Honestly, like, I think I tweeted as soon as it was over, was just like, I could see why players would want to play for Shane Beamer. And like the fact that like coaches, like, I guess across the country, obviously like recruiting and all that stuff, like a big part of it is being able to talk to people and communicate. And just the way that he delivered that speech, it wasn't like the most like moving speech. It wasn't the best speech you've ever heard in your life, but the way that he just like continued to flow and it was just a very impressive speech in general. So shout him out.
Yeah, he had some great stories. We can talk a little bit more about that. Let's take a break because I'm looking at the timer. We're coming up on it, and then we'll We're back.
We're back, as you were.
So just real quick, I wanted to make sure we kind of mention these stories that were part of Shane Beamer's speech at the Bronco Nagurski Trophy ceremony. He told two really funny ones. I'm gonna just kind of recap one. You can recap the other. But I guess later in his life, he said Bronco Nagurski. He was doing this thing where he spelled out defense in each of the letters. I can't remember exactly each word he was saying, but there's also a word for that. I was not an English major. I was for a few semesters, but clearly didn't graduate with it. So one of the words, he was telling a story where later in life, Bronco Nagurski owned a gas station. It was the most popular gas station in town because he would screw the gas caps on so tightly that only he could take them off, which I just thought was absolutely classic, and I just love stuff like that.
The Bronco Nagurski highlight reel that they made, the montage like before announcing the winner, this dude was just like, I think he was like a wrestler too.
Yeah.
He was just like, this guy looked like he grew up on a farm somewhere and just kicked ass for a living. It was just a CFO of kicking ass. Like, he's just a huge monster of a man. I'm sure you can look up videos of him somewhere. The other Shane Beamer story was talking about how, I forget what school he was at the time, but one of his players was just getting torched by Riley Cooper. They were going up against Riley Cooper, and coach like pulled him over after a play or after a game or something like that, and was like, "What are you doing out there, man? Like, he's shredding you." He's like, "Coach, I've been playing NCAA and he's only a 6 speed on there." And it's just like, he's like, the players just studied things in a different way. And we were actually talking to Jordan about NCAA and like how sweet it would be to be a part of that. And he's like, Well, hopefully I'm a part of Madden next year.
Yeah, you will be, man.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure
There's
you
a
will
better
be.
chance you are than we are. So, way to be humble.
Yeah.
So, I appreciate the humbleness.
Yeah, appreciate the humbleness. Appreciate Ya's. This is a segment we use one of your favorite catchphrases, and we let people know that we
Twizzlers.
appreciate them. Bronco Nagurski was born before Twizzlers were invented, by the way.
But was he born before the company was created?
No, definitely not. So, my first one.
You from Arkadelphia?
Doubtful.
Never know.
Not a surfer, but Mac Jones's wetsuit. I saw this and thought you would enjoy it. His recent stat line you probably didn't enjoy very much unless you're not a Patriots fan. I don't even know if you are, but 2 for 3 for 19 yards for a quarterback rating of 4.3 on Monday night against the Bills. But more, I guess, pertinent to what I'm talking about, I guess. So Tom Brady used to wear a wetsuit and that I guess scuba diving suit under his uniform. He suggested it to Brian Hoyer, and then Hoyer is now Mac Jones's backup. And so that kind of got passed down through the New England quarterback family, and I think it looks kind of ridiculous. Also, it's like I played a lot of sports growing up. I grew up in Michigan. Like, can't you just wear like Under Armour cold gear, like multiple layers?
The wetsuit's good because you can pee yourself, and then you can keep yourself warm.
There you go.
And fresh legs. You're thinking about it totally the wrong way.
I guess so. Well, I just thought it was a ridiculous look. I love the fact that is a tradition. So Mac Jones and your wetsuit, appreciate you.
We've really covered it all this year.
Yes, we really have.
My first appreciate you goes out to Tiger Woods. I mean, golf is just the best form of golf when Tiger is on tour. Tiger tweeted Wednesday, today, tomorrow, whatever day you're listening to this. This is Wednesday. We posted on Thursday. Like, follow, subscribe. Tiger tweeted, although it's been a long and challenging year, I'm very excited to close it out by competing in the PNC Championship, sponsor PNC, with my son Charlie. I'm playing as a dad and couldn't be more excited and proud. He played in this last year. Charlie, I think, carried the team. I think they came in second to Justin Thomas and his dad, maybe. But the PNC Championship allows 20 different current tour golfers to golf with someone, a member of their family. Obviously, like father-son duos. I'm sure a lot of people get started in golf by someone in their family, stuff like that. But it's good to see Tiger back after that car accident back in February. Who knows? I don't think he'll be ripping and gripping like normally, but it'll be good to see him out there and get the swing moving. And obviously, there'll be a lot of people studying his movements and if he'll be able to make a full comeback on the tour. I mean, he said the other day that he wants to come back and play in a select few events throughout the year. And, I'll take Tiger when I can get him. So that's what I will be doing next weekend. I guarantee you that. So, Tiger Woods, appreciate you.
Michigan quarterback, not Caden McNamara, but J.J. McCarthy. This one was just kind of more of a feel-good, appreciate you, but he made a promise earlier in the year that he was going to donate a portion of his NIL money to people in need, and so he kind of posted a graphic just kind of saying, what he did, who the money went to, and there's a lot of different children's hospitals on here, so I'll just say 7 different programs at 7 different children's hospitals across the Big Ten, and on top of that, donated money to the families of the Oxford school shooting victims. And so, just very mature move. I know that probably not every college student athlete is thinking about giving to charity and just a Michigan man all around. So JJ McCarthy, appreciate you. I hope you can run a few plays against Georgia, and hopefully Jordan Davis takes my advice that I gave him during our interview and just doesn't play.
Don't think you will.
No, but yeah, JJ, appreciate you.
My final appreciate you goes out to Diurnus Collin, state champ. And you might be saying, who is Diurnus Collin, Jack? Which is a great question. He was once mistaken for the legend in his own right, Lil Terrio at Popeyes in 2013. Famous meme, of course. The Vine went viral. It's the little kid holding the cup, looking awkward at the camera. My man was just trying to get like that 3-piece combo, drink his Fanta, and go home and run some Madden. But he went viral, and now he is a senior in high school, 6'1", 315. I think we got to find this guy a scholarship. We got to give him an NIL deal with Popeyes. His nickname. Did you look at what his nickname is, or did it? You can.
Nope.
His nickname is the Killer Whale. He's named first team all conference. He's the center for the East Orange High School of New Jersey. They won the state title in 3 overtimes, and then he famously. He recreated his famous meme of him holding the cup, looking awkward. He did it with the state championship trophy. Diurnus Collin, Preciate Ya, and look it up if you haven't, because I mean, if you know the meme, it's truly amazing. 2013, the guys. I mean, I graduated high school in 2013, and he's a senior in high school now. You're just really making me feel old here, Diurnus Collin.
Yeah,
champ.
You're telling me. Well, I say we just get into one of our 2 interviews. We talked to both Will Anderson Jr. and Jordan Davis. We're gonna do the Will interview first. We keep in mind while you're listening, if you're not watching the video, that this was taking place while we were playing Jenga.
Yeah, this is. I watched it earlier. I watched it earlier, but I didn't just. I was just watching it, so I think, like you said, keep that in mind.
Yeah,
it'll be very interesting to, I guess, hear people's feedback on what your thoughts are on it. But yeah, we were playing Jenga. Things got heated. Spoiler: Pat and I won.
Yes.
So yeah,
we didn't win as much as he lost. I would say.
I don't. That's what I made like a weird comment in it. Like he's like, you're helping him out. Like I was helping you out because I was telling you where to go. But I was just like, I mean, I don't know. Like it's us against you, kind of, but like we're all on the same team. Like, there's 2 winners, there's 1 loser.
For content purposes, it was great that he was the one who lost.
That's all that matters.
If it was one of we were like in tuxedos, like shaking.
Yeah, my suit's like tight, and I was worried that he was gonna have the advantage of being in the middle, which I guess
he
was
did.
no advantage.
He did, but he didn't take advantage.
But I guess we were standing up and kind of moving around the table. He was kind of just sitting there still. So, I don't know. Here's our interview with Will Anderson Jr.
We're here with Will Anderson, Alabama linebacker, finalist for the Bronco Nagurski Trophy. We've heard you're very competitive, so we figured we'd play you in Jenga while we talked to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, I want to get beat. Come on, then.
Let's do it.
We'll let you go first, and I can ask you the first question. You grew up in a household. You can start playing if you.
I don't even know how to play.
Are you analyzing? Oh, you got to
remove
take
one and then put it on top. But you
From
can't
where?
take off the top. Any one you want. But talk to him while he's doing it so we distract him.
You grew up in a household of 5 sisters. Who would you rather have call you out on film, them or Nick Saban?
Oh, Nick Saban, most definitely.
I heard about the dumbbell story. They dropped it on your toe once.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pretty intense, huh?
Very intense.
Yeah. Think that shaped you kind of into who you are today?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
She did it on purpose.
I don't know if the 2 hands is a legal move, but I'm not going to call you out. So after the game the other day, you said, we're Alabama, man. We're not no D3 team, something like that. I mean, these are your words. What do you mean by that?
No disrespect to any D3 school out there. It's just in the heat of the moment. But I was just saying that we're not any regular school. We're Bama. We are the standard. We are the team. We are the school that everybody wants to be. Everybody emulates us. So I don't like how they was disrespecting us. So I just had to make that be known.
No, that's fair. I was just trying to stir the pot. Hopefully you said something ridiculous.
You lead the nation in tackles for loss and sacks. How many do you think you would have if you were on a D3 team? Probably a few more.
Probably a few more than that. Probably 50.
50.
Those are like creative player stats.
So you grew up a Georgia fan, right?
Yes, I did.
Are you still a Georgia fan? No. Oh, okay. That was pretty much where I was going with that. I had a feeling.
They're
I'll try to multitask
We're not holding
here.
back.
So we were at the press conference where Nick made the yummy rat poison. I actually did that. I thought I was going to make a fall comment.
That's leaning, guys.
Is he funnier than people give him credit for?
Most definitely, he is. He is way funnier than what people give him credit for.
He's got more jokes than
He has
than
more
just those.
personality to him.
Yeah. People don't see it a ton, but I feel like when he tries to be funny in press conferences, he's very funny.
He is. He can be.
He's got a high success rate on his jokes.
You like to go low or you
I'm
go
not
high?
your coach.
Oh,
That's cheating.
I don't know if I like this. Oh,
You gotta ask the question while you're doing it. It makes it harder.
I don't know if I can handle that.
Pressure.
I got the shaky
Yeah,
hands,
I'm
man.
shaking.
He's sweating. Look at him.
I mean, that's always though.
So looking at us two, what do you think? If there's like one physical event or like game challenge competition, what do you think that we could beat you in?
In a physical challenge,
I mean, look at me.
you could do UFC. And you could do heavyweight UFC.
We think we could beat you?
You think I think you could do boxing. You look like you can box.
We couldn't beat you.
No, not me, but you look like you could do it. It's on me. Did you go yet?
I just went.
Did you?
I did.
It's leaning.
Man, my word.
You can do that, right?
Can you take it off the top? Yeah,
No, you can take it off the top. It's the one rule.
Y'all
I think there's
making-
only one rule to Jenga.
Y'all making new
Well,
rules.
two, and you used two hands, so you broke both.
All these new rules these days, this new age.
So after the game, you were hyping up Bryce Young. You're like his campaign manager.
Most definitely.
What are your thoughts on him? Like, I personally think that you deserve to be in New York. Best player in America. You're definitely the best player in America. You're the, maybe second or third best player at this table. But why are you campaigning so hard for Bryce?
Because when you practice with somebody like Bryce and you see how much,
Are you stalling?
I'm trying to figure out where I want to go because I can't use two hands. When you see how hard somebody practice every day and how they come to work and how they can lead a team and get everybody going, I think Bryce does a great job implementing that. And my hat's off to Bryce, especially the Auburn game when he held his composure. That was really great, and that really showed his Heisman moment.
What was your mentality in that game? I mean, the whole game. We caught the end of it. We were at Ohio State, Michigan. We're Ohio State, Michigan guys. So we caught the end of your game. What was your thoughts as that game's going down?
I knew we were going to win.
Whose turn is it? My turn?
You?
You knew you were going to win.
I knew we were going to win because that whole week of preparation, the energy that was at practice, the energy that was in the facility, it was great. Like I said, when we were on the field, it was no time anybody had ever looked like, oh, we're going to lose. Everybody kept their head up, everybody kept their composure, and everybody kept playing. And we have a rule that we're going to play the 60 minutes, and I think that's what we did.
I don't think this game is going to go for 60 minutes based on how his hands are shaking. Ooh,
Wow.
I take it back. We hear about the Bama factor. Is that an equation? Like, can you use the quadratic formula to get it, or are we ever going to be able to be on that level of the Bama factor, or we just can't be taught?
What is the benefit?
What is the Bama factor?
You have to go through something called fourth quarter to go through the Bama standard. This is not fourth quarter. So I don't think you
Sounds good,
guys.
Ooh, I don't even know. This is like.
I don't know, maybe you got to go middle here. something
You're
like that.
cheating. You can't tell him.
He's trying to get the ball.
You.
You've got there's a smaller percent chance that we win. Actually, greater, and that we lose. So who knows?
Not that. I don't know here, guys. Is that the same one I just tried to pull?
So last night, permanent team captain. What's that mean?
That means
So-
everything. I mean, that's. I think that's like a big testament to my family and how they raised me, just being a leader, especially as a sophomore, being able to accomplish something like that at such a young age and young time, and just being early in college. So I was very happy. I just try to do things the right way and just be a positive influence on the team, and I feel like it's worked out so well so far.
For sure. Couple more moves here. I think you're about to blow it here.
I don't know. He's pretty clutch.
You might win tonight, but you might lose right now.
You won the Natty last year, obviously, with the great game against Georgia. You're the #1 seed. What's the mentality both for you and the team heading into the CFP?
The same mentality that we had going into this game versus Georgia. Nobody respects us. Nobody thinks we still have a chance, no matter if they put us at 1, 4, 3, or 2. So we just have to keep going out there and proving people wrong.
You have more pressure right now, or like 4th and short?
Y'all not going to get this first down.
I saw you going for one that already had one off that earlier. That was a weird move. You were grabbing that guy a second ago. Oh. I think you're in an advantage being in the middle as well.
They're going to play this clip back at the combine someday, just showing that you can think outside the box. Wow. I'm impressed.
How about that other one off the bottom? You think I can take this?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like shaking,
I know.
putting that on top.
This is where it starts to get interesting.
What's it mean to be a 1 seed? I know you guys don't do, I thought that was something super cool. I was watching ESPN, and you guys don't do like a big, team watch, CFP thing, probably because that is the standard there, right? So what does it mean for you to be a 1 seed versus, playing that 2 or 3?
I mean, it means a lot, but we still haven't done what we wanted to do yet, which is win a natty, so we're just focused on that right now.
I get you. You should be focused on this.
No, that's not it. Oh, man. There's like not a good move here.
I think these 3, there's a couple 3s that are still out there. Middle 3. What's it mean to be here tonight?
It means everything. It just shows that, my hard work is starting to pay off. And I was just telling them, thanking my teammates and my coaches just for pushing me, helping me get to this point.
Do I have to stack it 3-way?
Uh-huh. I mean, that might be on us for blowing it, but all right, here we go. You got an exam to catch, so you might as well just lose.
No, too competitive. While you're doing that move, you were voted the most inspiring player by your team. Who inspires you?
Phil Mathis. Phil Mathis get everybody going, full of energy, flyers around. Man, I was just telling his parents last night how much I appreciate Phil, because he really took me under his wing this year, especially this year, with just leadership and showing me how things are done and the standard around Alabama.
You guys were going crazy on stage together. Post game. Uh-oh. 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 It's game over. It's game over. You might win a natty, but you're not going to win this. Come on. It was a good run. Congratulations on this year.
Thank
Good luck
you.
tonight. We appreciate it. Go do your exam.
They cheated. They planned this. Appreciate you guys.
And that was our interview with Will Anderson Jr.
Are you supposed to, when you're playing Jenga, are you supposed to like yell out Jenga when you lose?
I don't know. I try to call him out on the rules. Like this first move, he was using 2 hands, and I was like, there's no way that's legal. And then later, I mean, I feel like that's like the most obvious rule of Jenga is you cannot take from the, what do you mean you're taking it from the top?
Yeah.
How is that difficult at all?
I mean, I had some questions because I hadn't played Jenga in a while, but I knew that.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the one rule. And then 2 hands, I guess, like 2 hands, I guess it can help you at the start, but like the more you move on, like that's more likely to knock over the Jenga.
You can switch hands, but
Well, why would you switch hands? Watch this. I'm going to do this with my non-dominant hand. That'd be a fun game of Jenga.
Yeah.
Non-dominant hand Jenga.
Yeah.
You can use the same game. You just got to use a different hand.
It's like our axe throwing the other week where we started out and then we were playing games that are non-dominant hands.
Yeah, that
could have ended very poorly.
Don't recommend throwing axes with your non-dominant hand.
No.
That's how you cut your shin open.
Yes, but great to talk to Will. Very glad that he won the award. Obviously, we were, I guess we're also fans of Jordan. Don't get us wrong. And then I mean, Kayvon was just zooming, so we didn't get to meet him.
Kayvon's dead to me.
You want to talk a little college football, and then we'll get into the Jordan interview?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at this, if you're watching us, we've got the 4 finalists helmets behind us. I know that we talked about this after the game. You're like, you still had hopes for Michigan to be the number 1 seed. I knew that they were not going to be. I think there was some clip of Harbaugh saying like, we can get to number 1 seed. Like, let's punch it in here, late in the game against Iowa the other day. I just felt like after Georgia lost Alabama in the way that they did, that Alabama was taking that 1 seed over. And then I feel like for me, the bigger question was, are they going to put Georgia at 3 or put Georgia at 4? And then, ended up putting Georgia at 3. So that 2-3 game, Michigan-Georgia is going to be I don't know. I personally think that Cincinnati is about to get beat up a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I don't know. I've been wrong before. I'm sure they're going to be, greased up and ready to roll. But seeing that Alabama team and what they did to Georgia, I can only imagine they're licking their chops going to play the Cincinnati team who, they've had some close games this year. Granted, they're undefeated. I think they deserve to be in. I've been back and forth on Cincinnati all year if you've been listening to the podcast, and I think they deserve to be in. I don't think that things are going to go well for them.
I look at, like, sometimes when we go on the field after the games, you get a true perspective of like how massive and how athletic. Like, I just like Evan Neal, Alabama's tackle, who's going to be like a top 5 pick, top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Like I was filming him and like just went up right. I'd filmed him before too, so I kind of just like knew he like loves the camera. I went up right to him, and like the dude he's like 6'7". I want to say he's 6'7", 351. And so to me, it's almost like this matchup is like when a really good high school plays like a lower division, like I know it is like same division kind of thing for college, but like I just feel like Cincinnati, yes, they've been on the upward trend, but in terms of these like elite recruits who are just like athletic freaks, I feel like that's gonna come out during this game. Like I'm expecting it to be a blowout.
We will see. It is the ultimate David versus Goliath, I think, in the CFP, especially Goliath being Alabama. I mean, Goliath would be one thing being Georgia, but it's just the history and who Alabama is, being the national champion, coming off a national championship year. Excuse me. One would just believe that Alabama is gonna roll them. I have no doubt in my mind that Luke Fickell's gonna have those guys ready to roll either. I don't know. They've made it to where they are, so impressive nonetheless. And then tell me about that Michigan-Georgia matchup, what you're looking forward to there.
I mean, I was bummed for sure. Like, I was hoping for the 1 seed like you were talking about. I was kind of talking to Jordan a little bit like before and after the interview, just kind of like what his thoughts were and everything. And, I mean, we're trending upward. Everybody, I think, saw the stat, if you're a college football fan this week, of like there was like literally a 0% chance of this happening. Like before the season, I think we're the first unranked team to make it. A lot of stuff had to go right. I mean, I know you're not a Harbaugh guy. I am. I've always believed in his ability to recruit and identify talent. And I mean, a lot of the guys that I was super excited about when they've committed over the years are like, I mean, Aiden obviously being a Heisman finalist. I'm super, super happy for him. And so like, I think we have a chance. It's definitely not a great draw. I mean, anybody would obviously rather do the 1 versus 4 playing Cincinnati kind of thing. But also, I mean, I think it does set up for a Bama-Michigan matchup, which I know we played them in a bowl game a few years ago and we got trounced, but I would love a chance to kind of play them again. And I think, like, I don't know. I mean, obviously got to get through Georgia first, but their front seven is going to be better than anyone Michigan has played, obviously. So that's what worries me the most. But with kind of the style we've been playing and the way that we're trending, I definitely think we have a chance. It's just like we haven't played against Jordan Davis yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how that game goes because the front seven, like you said, but all Michigan really does is run the ball. And I don't know. I mean, Georgia's Georgia's defense looked unbeatable until this past weekend. So obviously, Harbaugh can go look at the film and see what they did there. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting because that's your bread and butter, and that's their bread and butter, and I mean, it goes one of a few ways. So I mean, I'm not here to say that Haskins isn't good at his job because he is, and I saw it firsthand. So I'm interested to see where that goes. I love these games. Me and my buddies, we pick every bowl game every year, and we kind of just have this little fun game back and forth we play and all that stuff. And I like to be locked in on every game, but obviously the CFP is where it's all at. And, I mean, I guess the Rose Bowl too. Can't forget about the Rose Bowl. Go Buckeyes. So no, it'll be good. I'm sure we'll dive in more about all these games and reactions and stuff like that as we move forward. And I don't think the bowl games start until the 17th. If I'm not mistaken, so we've got some time to kind of dissect those. But, yeah, that's your CFP Final Four. And this weekend, there's another awards show, kind of a big deal going on, the Heisman Trophy ceremony, Pat.
Yeah, we were, like, standing right by Will, like, around the time we were Googling this, trying to figure out if it had been announced yet. And you were kind of saying, oh, man, like, I really want to be the one who delivers the news that Will was selected as a Heisman favorite, and we looked it up, and it was like finally announced, and I was just like, you should go tell him that he wasn't announced as a finalist.
That's how you get your ass kicked.
Yeah, he would be able to do it. Although he did say that you could be a UFC fighter.
Yeah, well, I guess we didn't really break down. Wait, did we do his interview first? We did his interview first.
We didn't really break it down.
We didn't break it down, but
he didn't understand that question.
I don't think.
We
misheard
said, "What could you be at a set?" And he was just like, "You could be a boxer. You could be a heavyweight UFC
like,
fighter."
Nah, bro.
No,
like frisbee golf, maybe.
Yeah, you would knock me out.
Yeah, nah. Yeah, the dude's an absolute animal. Which leads me to my next point. Bryce Young, Aiden Hutchinson, C.J. Stroud, Kenny Pickett will all be in New York this Saturday. Safe to assume Bryce Young has won the Heisman Trophy. I don't think the other three guys need to go, but they will be there. And Ohio State and Michigan got together. I don't know when the last time that happened was.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But I said to Will that I think he's the best player in the country. And I'm not here to talk crap about Aiden, but also I just want to bring some stats to the limelight. Will Anderson total tackles on the year, 91, 52 solo. Aiden Hutchinson, 58, 33 solo. Tackles for a loss, Will Anderson, 31.5. Hutchinson, 15.5. Total loss of yardage, 134 versus 75. And then sacks on the year, 15.5 for Anderson and 14 for Hutchinson. So, I mean, their D linemen, you know, their job is to do that stuff. And not to mention Will Anderson drops back into coverage a lot and does that because he is a linebacker as well. So, I mean, I'm not saying that Will Anderson's better, but Will Anderson is hands down better.
All I'll say is that if I had to guess, these are the next two number one draft picks of the next two drafts, which is pretty crazy.
I think Will Anderson might have some to go up against his teammate Bryce Young there, but yeah, you're probably not far off.
That's true.
So,
yeah, I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy for Aiden. Will, I guess, like, that was something where I kind of learned more about him as the season goes. I mean, obviously he's a sophomore, so like he came on the scene kind of later in his freshman year. But like, I mean, when I look at the stats on paper, I am surprised that he was not invited to the ceremony.
Yeah, and as Bryce Young is quite literally the best quarterback that Saban's ever coached, Will Anderson might be the best player he's ever coached, and it'll be interesting to see. I mean, just seeing these guys develop in like the weight room and all that stuff. I mean, he's absolutely giant. Yep. And just to think about him coming back next year for another year and the stats he's putting up this year, I wouldn't be surprised if Will Anderson's in New York next year and maybe taking it home. Obviously, like I said, he's going to have to go up against his teammate again. It'd be crazy to see Bryce Young maybe go back-to-back, but that's a whole nother story for all of next year. So, yeah, I mean, we talked to him about it, and someone asked him the other day. We didn't ask him what his reaction was, but he said, it's God's plan. It's not mine. I'm just following what God's got for me. I'm just going to keep on rolling. We're good. Bryce is there. We straight. So, I mean, like I said, humble dude, good dude, means well. And I don't know. I might have had some other stuff to say if I had that stat line, but he was nervous at the awards. I was talking to a few different people, and they're like, yeah, like, he's never been this nervous. I was like, I was under the impression that there was no way that Will Anderson didn't win the Nagurski Award. besides the fact that like a lot of these postseason college awards and the voting that goes into them, and like who's a sports writer and are they actually sports writers? Do they cover college football or do they cover like one team?
Mm-hmm.
It's all shady stuff, and look into it if you don't know much about it. But I was worried just not that Jordan wasn't allowed to win, but his stats, didn't compare either in my opinion. But he's a Charlotte kid, so it's like, are those Charlotte voters and whatever gonna, maybe change the direction of who wins the trophy? But shout out to them both. But yeah, big fan of Will Anderson.
If there was a stat for disrupting the backfield, I think Jordan Davis would win the Heisman.
He could win a couple things.
Yeah.
Imagine taking that man to a buffet.
The fact that he didn't want to eat the first
That
thing
was
we met him,
mind-blowing.
yeah, that was crazy.
I was like,
just,
dude, you should always be hungry. You look like someone that's never full. I did ask him, we didn't ask him this in the interview, but whatever, I'll say it anyways. He was talking about, I don't know how old he is. He's old enough to drink.
Yes.
We'll leave it at that.
Yes.
And he was talking about how like he basically like runs the one bar he goes to now. Like he'll just go behind the bar and make drinks and all this stuff. And I'm sure the owners are like, I love this. This is awesome. But I was like, how many drinks does it take for you to feel like loose? And he's like, to feel a little bit fuzzy, like probably like 10. I was like,
Vodka cranberries.
Vodka cranberries or vodka Red Bulls, right?
Yeah.
He was drinking vodka cranberries the other night, but I was like, 10 drinks. I mean, he's massive. Yeah. He's absolutely massive. But like, he's like, to feel a little fuzzy. I was like, I don't know what a little fuzzy is, but 10 drinks is a lot.
Nicest guy though, and just like it, I don't know, maybe because I'm older, but it's just like you forget sometimes that these guys are like 19, 20. I mean, freshmen, obviously, 17, 18, but you forget how young they are, and you forget what you were like at that age sometimes, and so it's just like it's great because a lot of times they're just like very. I don't know. Innocent's not the word, but it's just like they're very just like open to everything, and it's just the whole world's ahead of them, and they have a great mindset about everything. And so I think just like being around that and their positivity was definitely
he's
great.
22. I mean, the whole world is ahead of him,
Yeah.
especially when you're you're in the CFP 1 week and then you're thinking about getting drafted the next. So what are we gonna do? The interview now or what?
Sure. I guess we can lead into that as we're talking about him. So the Jordan interview, you may hear some instruments. We started a band.
There we go.
So we talked to Jordan Davis, defensive tackle for Georgia. Here we go.
Meow, 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 meow.
All right, we're here with Jordan Davis, Georgia defensive tackle, finalist for the Bronco Nagurski Trophy. You directed the Red Coat Band after your final home game. We brought some instruments. We're wondering if you would join our band. We want to kind of jam out, maybe play the Georgia fight song.
Yep.
Can you direct us?
Sure.
Maybe hum it?
All right.
You gotta turn this on.
Let me get the.
This is the middle C.
I got to tune this 1 second.
Are we tuning?
I'm good.
We're good.
All right. Let me make sure all the. All right.
You got your rhythm in you?
All right. I'm probably gonna have to replace this with this.
See, that's strategy.
Ease of access.
All right.
All right.
You can hum it. We'll play along.
And a 1, and a 2, and a 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my God, it's atrocious. It's atrocious. Let me.
All right, well, it was a good run.
We tried.
Earlier this year, you scored a touchdown as a running back.
Yeah.
If Jordan Davis as a running back meets Jordan Davis as a D lineman in the hole, who's winning?
I don't think it's any winning. I think the earth will just literally implode on itself. It'll be yeah, that'll definitely be a sight to see if that ever happened.
That's fine.
We were just doing some research on you, and the story of how you got into football was really funny. You were a basketball player before.
Yep.
Registering for classes, I guess the registrar was married to the football coach.
Yep.
So that's how everyone starts playing football, right? That's like the process you have to go through.
Yeah,
That's
kind of.
pretty
Yeah.
standard. Yeah, that's what we figured.
So also we heard in high school that you were not necessarily into weightlifting and kind of hung out in the
In the bathroom.
bathroom.
Yeah. No. going from like hooping and not touching the weight to going to a football powerhouse at the time, and you know all they do is just lift weights. Is a hard transition. So you know I was just a little nervous, a little apprehensive. But
How'd you get going into the weight room? Because I mean I kind of did the same thing. I kind of hid in the bathroom if you couldn't tell.
I don't know. It's just I had to find my strength. I had to understand that like you know like football is strong and basketball is strong is different strong.
They're very different strong.
But once you tapped in and figured it out, it was pretty lit.
How was basketball? Do you foul out frequently?
Yeah, I always fouled out. If I didn't foul out, that was a good game for me. But yeah, it was, you know, I was in there for rebounds and fouls, so I didn't really.
You have 5 fouls. Don't be afraid to use them.
Hey, I mean, you know, it's kind of like you know, if you're gonna take it to the goal, you know, you got to meet me there. So.
You're playing my Michigan Wolverines in the CFP. I got like a strategy idea for you. Just rest. You don't need to play in the game. You're good.
I wouldn't say that. I think we have plenty of rest before we play that game.
Yeah,
but
You don't need to play. You know, just like recovery is very important. Just think about it.
meow.
So I had a question for you. Have you ever gotten in trouble for like anything inside the practice facility with like, say, breaking the axle of a goat cart or anything like
Oh
that?
man, yeah.
What happened there?
I can't say it on the record. But it's yeah.
We can leave it.
A little urban legend for y'all.
We'll move to something that's a little more public because it is in your Twitter bio. You're a Swedish fish connoisseur.
Definitely.
Also a huge Swedish fish fan. You don't need to convince me, but tell the people why Swedish fish is the best candy.
It's just the best. You know, no free clout, but you know, Swedish fish is great. I enjoy it. I literally have a bag on me at all times. It's one in my backpack. It's one in my backpack. So, you know, if you ever need a sweet treat and you're walking by me, just don't hesitate to ask.
We're gonna find you at the
Yeah,
awards
we're gonna find
ceremony.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're a Renaissance man. Not many people know this, I would imagine, but ancient Greece, the Egyptians, Percy Jackson books. I mean,
Definitely.
What? I don't know. Probably people looking at you might be, you know, that might be a shock to them. Why is that a thing for you?
The stories are always fun to read, entertaining. I always like the stories of how things came to be in different cultures and different like languages and stuff like that, and religion. But Greek and Roman are kind of similar. And
How long have you been into that?
probably since in elementary school.
Really?
Yeah, I used to read books, not more so these days. I don't read anymore, but back then I used to like reading and enjoy reading and have fun doing it. But learning about things and learning about how different people see life as we see it is completely different.
Yeah, that's sweet.
What's it like being back in your hometown, being back in Charlotte for the Nagurski Trophy, and what does it mean to you and your family if you were to win tonight?
It's a great feeling. All the time I come back to Charlotte, it's always different. Something's different, changing. It's a rapidly growing city, but it's great to be back home. It just, you know, you put your feet on this earth. It's where you're from. It's your roots. So you definitely feel a source of pride, and you know, definitely, if you know, win or lose, I'm definitely excited to be here. I'm proud to be here. I'm proud to be a Charlotte native, and you know, like, be in this position for the city. You know, I like to imagine that the city is supporting me, and you know, not only in Athens but back home in Charlotte too. So
Absolutely.
it's great to be here.
So who is DJ Oreo?
DJ Oreo is a alias that I used to go by. Not more so these days. Pretty sure it's copyrighted, but
You're still making music though, right?
definitely making music. Trying to become more consistent at it. You know, during the season, you don't really have time to really enjoy and put your full effort into things extracurricular. But
Is that where your love from the band, towards the band, comes from?
yeah, I always like music, like being around it. You know, I spent a lot of time in the church growing up, so you know, all you hear is music.
Yeah.
And you know, just growing up and you know, finding that love, and you know, you just want to be around it as much as you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're creative guys. We get it. In terms of people having to get creative, I just imagine you against a high school offensive lineman. How is that legal?
You know, that is between That's between you and the North Carolina High School Association, Athletic Association. So
I just imagine like a 225-pound kid
yeah,
guard lining up against you.
The crazy thing is, you go to school for 8 hours a day, and you got to play a game, and you play. Or back then you used to play Mallard Creek, and it used to be like, sheesh. But I like going to Georgia because it kind of evened out. Everybody's good.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody. I love those competitive games, and I love those times where you actually have to work for your wins and stuff like that. So it's definitely great being in the SEC.
What's it like playing on that defense? I mean, you guys got a squad top to bottom. I'm sure you have some fun. I know you're like kind of the energy guy around the team as well.
Definitely. Being around the team is it's an honor. It's great. I definitely love playing with the team. Definitely love playing with the defense. It's just it's a great honor to work with them. I wouldn't be here without them. So shouts out to those guys. But we just gotta get back in the lab. We got things to do. So
Absolutely.
we definitely got bigger things that we want to get to. So we can't do it without our defense. So we need to lock in and get that thing right.
I'm a huge dog guy. I learned you have a pit bull named Izzy.
Yep, pit bull terrier Izzy, and I'm getting updates right now from her. She's doing terrible. She's ripping up the couch. So
She misses you.
yeah, I would say that's she misses me, but when I go home she does the same thing, so I can't really tell. But yeah, Izzy's my heart and soul. She what keeps me going in the morning. She wakes me up because if I don't wake up in time, she'll start whining. So
She'll get you going.
yeah.
All right, well, before we let you go, can we do one more one of these?
Hold on.
All right,
I got a joke.
All right.
It's two peanuts. They walked in the woods, but one was assaulted. There we go. That's it. That's how we. That's how we end the video. I appreciate y'all time.
Jordan Davis. What a guy. I mean, he was, like we said before, he's just like a little kid that he wanted to play Jenga. And he was mad that we were playing instruments instead, but I think that was a fun time, a good conversation. And as we said earlier, it's fun to talk to these guys and talk to them as people because I feel a lot of times, they're just, worshipped everywhere they go, and they appreciate us talking to them like we, know them and appreciate them. And we're not there to steal their. Well, I guess we are there to steal their clout.
Oh, absolutely.
But
we're nice about it.
Yeah, at least we're nice about it. So no, it's cool talking to him. And I like I said, both those guys. It's cool to see how we've evolved and ending up there, and ended up sitting in between those two for 10 minutes and being able to pick on them the whole night and whatever. We had them autograph the drumsticks and the Jenga blocks. 2 of the Jenga blocks for us. And they were just cracking up when we brought them up there, and we were giving them a hard time and stuff like that. So, Jordan and Will, appreciate you guys both.
Yeah, no, it's cool to get not just 1 but 2 of the best defensive players in football. Doesn't happen every episode or every day. Coaching carousel, Jack. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, this is, like I said, this is just something that's the focus of college football right now, especially in between now and the bowl game starting. And you see coaches all over the place, the transfer portal popping off. It's just such a wild time, the coaching carousel. So you got Cristobal now going to Miami. Notre Dame hired their head coach since last time we talked. Venables is coming over from Clemson to Oklahoma. I saw this thing right before we got on air, but that there's like a senator in Oklahoma that is renaming 3 inches of the state highway for 325 the Lincoln Riley Highway. And the reason the area he picked is because it is the last 3 inches you'll see of the state before heading west.
Oh my gosh.
So, the people are not over it there. But it'll be interesting to see how all this shakes out. And one of my big takeaways was Cristobal headed home to Miami I mean, one thing's for sure is that he can recruit. He did it at Oregon, and we talk about this all the time, but like owning the state and owning the state of Florida is huge, and it's key. And now we got Billy Napier at Florida, who's his first time in the Power Five, trying to rebuild that program from, I mean, basically since Urban was there. And then Mike Norvell at Florida State. They got the 11th best recruiting class as of now. I think that obviously can change with all of this coaching carousel stuff, right? Like USC, I think, was 60th or something like that before Lincoln went over there, and now they're probably going to have a top 10 class. So it'll be interesting winning the state. You take like one player off of Alabama who, whatever, a D lineman who is from the state of Florida, and you keep inside of Florida, that affects a lot of things. That affects not only Florida's team, that affects Alabama's team, that affects the chance of them winning the SEC, getting into the playoff. It's just a spiral of things. And with 3 teams in Florida now trying to fight for, bragging rights. I mean, you got Ohio guy, Coach Day is going down to Florida. Everyone's pulling from Florida and California and, all these different states to get these guys. And now with a little bit of, emphasis on recruiting coming to these schools, and you got Lincoln out at USC and trying to run Southern California and stuff like that, it'll be really interesting how the shift in college football, focus changes moving forward over the next few years. Obviously, no team, no program is built on one recruiting class. I mean, obviously, one recruiting class can greatly affect a team and a program, but just thinking about these coaches being there for an extended period of time, it'll be interesting to see how that affects them moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this on another episode, but back in the day with Pete Carroll and USC, it was like coaches wouldn't even go to Southern California to spend their time on a recruit because it was just known that they were gonna commit to USC. And so I think there's something cool about getting back to some of those. Obviously, like as college football fans, we want like Miami versus Florida to be a great game. We want Florida State, all the Florida schools. We want to be in the same way that like in the years when Michigan was down, like, yeah, it was great for you, but it kind of sucked as a college football fan to not have that game mean, not that it doesn't mean what it means, but it means a little more when it's a top game. And so like I'm a fan of some of these, like, I guess you call them recruiting pipelines, whatever, because when those are functioning in the way that they have in the past, or in the way where these rivalries are strong, it just makes the games more fun to watch, because it's not like I'd say in the past 10 years, Ohio State's pulled a lot of kids out of Michigan who would have normally gone to Michigan, and that's made our program weaker and kind of made that game worse. And so it's like, it's fun when the recruiting stakes are higher, and it's like the coaches have to work a little bit harder. And obviously now with NIL deals, it's going to be a little different, but I'm excited to kind of see some of these like traditional rivalries get back to their full potential.
Yeah, I mean, the coaching carousel is just nuts in a nutshell, and like Oregon's open now, right? So who's going to take Oregon? Like if they're I've heard Chip Kelly. So if Chip Kelly goes back to Oregon, then UCLA is open, and then Luke Fickell goes to UCLA. Then says, I don't know, I'm just throwing names and whatever out there, but that's the beautiful part about this sport, and beautiful part about the coaching carousel is just like it's never ending. Like one job. We've seen Notre Dame, Miami, Oklahoma, Oregon, Florida, so many schools, huge name schools, lose and hire new coaches this year, which is just awesome. And then that just directly coincides with the transfer portal and it popping off. I mean, right now you've got Quinn Ewers and Spencer Rattler in there, and they're both, I mean, number one quarterbacks coming into college. And Ewers, I don't know, we didn't talk. That happened after last week's podcast. Yeah. That bothers me. That frustrates me. I know it bothers and frustrates a lot of Ohio State fans. I mean, the man got his money, so shout him out for that. I got a lot of footage of the 2 games that we were out of Quinn Ewers. So that's kind of cool, but not really cool that you're leaving, because, I mean, him being like the greatest recruit ever, that's something that got me excited as an Ohio State fan. And I was like, yeah, this will be cool. McCord will transfer. Jack Miller will transfer, and Jack Miller's in the transfer portal too. But I was like, Ewers is going to have to wait that another year behind Stroud, and we'll be golden. And sure enough, he took his money, he ran. So, I mean, obviously, being a Texas guy, we've heard Texas Tech, Texas A&M. I mean, all that stuff is very interesting to me, and seeing where they end up. And then, I don't know, Jaden Hazelwood, leaving Oklahoma,
Yep.
going to Arkansas. I mean, there's so many big names. Zach Evans from TCU. He was the number 1 overall running back. He's played 2 years at TCU, and just imagine him going somewhere, whatever. Like Alabama's struggled with running backs this year, and a lot of that's been due to injury and stuff like that. You have the number 1 recruit going to play behind that Alabama offensive line or somewhere big like that. It's crazy. So I don't know. Transfer portal, coaching carousel, CFP, bowl games. God, I love college football.
Real quick, so I did a little digging today. Apparently, a lot of Nebraska staff and players are starting to follow Spencer Rattler, and Mark Whipple just left his job at Pitt to take the coordinator job at Nebraska. So that would mean if he transfers there, he'd play Caleb Williams next year on September 17th.
And I'm sure that Nebraska would lose a close game like they do every other week.
I would just love to see that
in Nebraska?
storyline. I don't know where it is.
I think it's in Nebraska because they played Norman this year.
Got it. That'd be
sweet.
That would be. A sweet
I've been to a
game.
couple games, or I've been to one game in Nebraska, and I just love the state of Nebraska for what it's worth. I mean, besides like Omaha and Lincoln, and oh my God, if you haven't been to Nebraska, check out Nebraska. Go to. I mean, they do it big. The fans there are legit. It'd be weird to see him.
Omaha.
We spent
3.
it's, too much time in Omaha, but.
What are you saying? Sorry.
I just think that Nebraska, the fans there are loyal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just feels weird to me to think that Spencer Rattler's going to go play for Nebraska, but hey, it is what it is. We'll see. I mean, by the time we drop this podcast, he could be signed to Michigan. Who knows?
I highly doubt it, but I wouldn't say. I mean, I probably would say no, but that's a whole other.
You wouldn't want him?
It's a whole other podcast.
You wouldn't want him on your team?
I'm not the biggest Spencer Rattler fan.
I mean, he's more than a QB manager, though, or a game manager.
That's true, but sometimes that's all you need.
We'll see. All right, you got anything else to add?
I think I'm good. A lot of stuff happening. 2 great interviews. Action-packed episode.
There we go. We are still eligible. Like, follow, subscribe, give a review. If you haven't given a review, give a review. Why have you not given a review? We know that you're listening, so give us a review.
Great pitch.
What do you got?
Nothing better than that.
Hey, it's Jack. Appreciate you listening to today's podcast. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Make sure to follow us on social media @StillEligible. We'll see you next time.